You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table, the podcast where no subject is too taboo to discuss. Now, please welcome your hosts, Andy Barker and Drew Del Pree. Wow, is it me or is that like loud?
It was awesome. We haven't heard it in forever. It was a little loud, but it was awesome.
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
At least I could hear it for once.
It's been a while. How you been, Andy?
Good, man. It has been a while. You know, we took that brief hiatus before camp, went to camp, took a brief hiatus after camp, and we're back.
We did, and we are. So
What's
before
up?
so before the show, we were talking about how I started umpiring since after the camp. And for those of you that don't know, I am a gear queer. I was telling Andy about some of the
True story.
Yeah, right. Some of the new gear gear I got. I noticed when I was out there it was hot. So I was like, I'm gonna get an igloo cooler backpack, right?
Boy, wasn't that an understatement?
Yeah, right. Oh my God, there's no shade. There's no shade for me. Wherever I am, there's no shade. Behind the plate, there's plenty of shade, right? But I'm assigned the bases anyway.
It happens. What up, Murdog?
So what I was saying is, so I ended up getting a new water bottle, and I was telling Andy about it, and he didn't know about it. So if you guys don't know about it, I'll show you. This Gatorade water bottle, and it's a GX bottle. It was at Target, and they were selling them for about $22 a bottle. But I found a section of on sale ones, right? So like the different colors are costing $22. But this I don't know which one, My Little Pony one here, which I'm totally okay with, was $12. So I went and got one for everybody. It has a top with this little X punch, and you basically get pods, and it's to basically, it saves on plastic.
Okay, I have.
So you take the pod, you smash it down, the Gatorade goes in, and you have Gatorade. And then, this is the only plastic you're throwing away because the bottle's reusable. But yeah, I bought two of them. And what I do is I fill them up, I throw them in the cooler bag, and then that seems to last for 3 of the games. Seems to work out pretty good.
Oh, wow. You get 3 games out of that, huh?
Yeah. 2 water bottles. Yeah.
Get a game and a half, probably.
Just
cool. Me. Murdog's in the house. What up, Murdog?
That's the man.
That's right. Murd Dizzle. Hope everything's going well with you, brother. Hope Murd Pup and everybody's doing good. Yeah.
I'm gonna make one right now.
It has been a minute, man. But as you can tell, no guest for the night, but that's okay because, man, there has been so much going on, and we got a lot to talk about.
Let me tell you something. If you're not, normally I would say keep your children out of everything, right? They don't belong involved in it. But, I have an 11-year-old, and I've told my 11-year-old, and Andy, I would hope you tell your to pay attention. This is history. Pay attention. You are living through the last 3-4 weeks have been just phenomenal living history.
Literally. You are literally living history right now. And things that it's just some trying times going on right now. The lies that are just flying, man. The backpedal and the flip flop and the finger point, and it's like, holy shit.
Well, let's talk about. Well, let me ask you this, right? Here's something for everybody, right? Everybody, like my parents remembered where they were when Kennedy was shot.
Right.
Where were you when the Challenger exploded?
I was sitting in shop class. It was 9th grade, I think it was. Shut up.
I'm just saying, right? Yeah. I was in 4th grade. I remember being in school. No, it was in 6th grade. I was in 6th grade, and I remember watching it on TV. Yeah. We all watched it that day. And then Reagan spoke at night, which I don't really particularly remember.
So what's weird about that is I remember vividly being at home, sick from school, 1981, and watching Reagan, the attempted assassination.
Oh yeah.
Shut up, Murdog.
What Hinckley, right?
Yep.
For Jodie Foster. See, it was never the same after that.
Yeah.
But okay, where were you when 9/11 happened?
I'm gonna have to give you a little bit of a cleaner version of this story.
Yeah. We've been through this before. You were on deployment. You know where you were.
Yep. I was in Korea.
But I'm saying, like, my point being is, there are moments in time where when I know exactly where I was when that happened.
Right.
You know, I know where I was when the Challenger blew up. I know exactly where I was when 9/11 happened. And
Yep.
I'll tell you what, I know exactly where I was when they tried to shoot our our former president.
Yeah. Where were you?
Oh, so I had just finished umpiring a game, actually. And my wife hates smoking. And my wife hates drinking.
Mhm.
So I park in front of the liquor store right over the sewer grate and smoke a cigarette before I go home every day. Because I know she won't go by the liquor store, and I'll just throw the butt in the sewer grate, right? So I'm not littering. In my mind, I'm not littering, even though I'm sure it chokes dolphins somewhere down the ecosystem. I don't give a shit about that. That's not my
Fuck 'em.
problem.
They had a good run.
Pennsylvania's not a coastal state.
No.
But I'm just so you know, my point being is, you know, that's what I do. So I had turned it on, and I was listening to the rally, and I had just finished my cigarette and thrown it in the grate, sat down in my car, and had you know, usually I just take a minute or two. And I
Yeah.
was taking my minute or two, kind of looking at my Twitter feed, and pap 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 pap, and I was like, ho 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 ho, I know what that is. And then as it was quiet, you know, there was no reporter for a while. Everything was quiet
Right.
when you initially watched it. Well, I didn't watch it. I was listening. So
Mhm.
it was very quiet and I could not see anything. So hearing it on the radio, I was like, oh, I know what that is. And then when I heard nothing, I was like, that was it. That was it. I said, and I better get home because the liquor store is a block away from my house. For
Mhm.
anyone who doesn't know, Andy will tell you I had a severe drinking problem, and I planned my retirement around that, man. I moved right next to the liquor store so I could, right next to a pizza shop, so I could eat, stumble, get a bottle of liquor for the morning, and stumble home and have no issues. And
Right.
then I destroyed my pancreas 6 months in, wasted all that. But I still have a great neighborhood.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's still a great location.
yeah, so I said, "Hey, man, I better fly home real quick and see what's going on." And so anyway, long story longer, I was in the parking lot of the liquor store smoking a cigarette I wasn't supposed to.
I was just getting ready to take the field.
Oh,
Yeah. We were I was in Jefferson City, Missouri.
mm,
So Daryl Tucker, myself, and Casey Grau, we were getting ready to take the field for our last game.
oh yeah. So I go to the VA in Butler. I go there all the time. It's it is north of Pittsburgh. I think the shooter's neighborhood is in Pittsburgh, like one of the Pittsburgh suburb neighborhoods.
Hmm.
Bethel Park, I think, is in the Allegheny County. Um, so he's close. So like I'm closer to the shooter than I am to Butler. Um, but when I moved here, I'm in the middle, and so they told me, you know, you could go to Pittsburgh or you could go to Butler. I was like, well, you know, not being new and just going off life experience. I was like, well, I'd prefer to go opposite the city. You know?
Smart move.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I get my care up in Butler, and I'll tell you, it's strong Trump country. On the way up, there's a Trump only store. I was talking to somebody about it. They go, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was talking to somebody about it at jujitsu because we do lunch, and I was like, you know, we were talking. Of course, that was the topic of conversation for the next couple of days. And they were like, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's strong. That is strong Trump country up in Butler.
Well, let's just fucking dive into it, man. Oops. Sorry. There's my potty mouth again.
That's
Let's
okay.
let's just dive into it, you know, because when I found out, uh, I was pissed. I was real pissed
Uh huh.
because again, what we have to remember is that this isn't Trump or it isn't Biden. It's a threat on the office of the presidency of the United States. So it's a threat on all of us. And if you're not mad, well, then you're wrong. Number one, it doesn't matter if it's a Democrat or if it's a Republican. It's an attack on all of us. And what really gets me angry about the whole thing is that the fact that when it was reported by the media, they didn't even say it was an attack on him or an assassination attempt. It's, oh, Trump falls down, or they were loud bangs, so they moved Trump away. They couldn't even bring themselves to say, you know, there was an attempt on a man's life.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you watch any of the congressional hearings on it when they had the FBI director on it. He say, well, he probably wasn't even hit by a bullet.
Okay. You know, it's so funny. I'm so glad you brought this up because I was thinking about this all day today, right? So Christopher Wray is like John Brennan. Okay, for those of you that don't know Brennan, former head of the CIA. Okay, if you ever believe anything that comes out of Brennan's mouth, you're an idiot. That's all I'm gonna say. That all I'm gonna say to you is you're an idiot. Okay, John Brennan is the one who went in front of the American people and said, "Oh no, 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 we don't spy on people." That's what caused Snowden to show you what they do to us. Okay, Brennan is a pathological liar who loves the levers of power. Loves the levers of power. And Christopher Wray's turned out to be the same thing. So I don't know why anyone talks to them. I don't know why anyone asks them any questions. I don't know why anyone brings them up on panels. I don't why even bring Christopher Wray up to the Senate? Why,
Well,
or the House? Why even ask him questions? He's not going to tell you the truth.
no, well, he's in the business of telling lies.
I wouldn't
You'd
bring him up
think
for anything. I
it
wouldn't
just
even
cracks
care.
it cracks me up that he's in the business of telling lies, and so you you expect him to be honest.
Yeah,
You know, come on.
well, he's not. Well, here's the thing: Ray's over the FBI. They're not in the business of
Mm,
telling lies.
I'm not talking about Ray. I was
Yeah,
talking about
Brennan is.
yeah.
Brennan's in the CIA, but
That,
Ray's over the FBI. He's
right.
another.
No, no.
It's under investigation. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, it's everything. You know. Oh, I can't comment on it, but I could. You know. That comment was nonsense. We don't know if Trump was hit by a bullet or glass. In all honesty, does it matter? Does it really matter?
Right. Well,
They
that's
still tried to shoot him. They still
kind of
tried
my
to shoot him.
whole point.
Yeah.
And so, since I bring that up, let's just get into this, man. I'm not gonna say it was a conspiracy, but it's kind of leaning pretty damn heavily towards it.
Very interesting you say that. Do you remember Lois Lerner from the IRS? She was in the IRS scandal, the one that got caught targeting the Tea Party and other 401c3s for tax audits and stuff, and like
Yeah.
delaying their processing and filing, and basically
Yeah.
weaponizing the IRS against the Republicans. Right? Lois Lerner, you can look her up. Retired, full pay and benefits. That
Completely.
kills me every time.
Yeah.
But anyway, right? During that time, I'll never forget. During that time, everybody was looking for an email from Barack Obama telling Lois Lerner to target the Tea Party. And
Mhm.
they're like, we never found an email. Of
No
course
shit.
not.
No shit.
That's why Lois Lerner's there. I already know what she's going to do. We've had these conversations over a lifetime. I don't need to email her. I know she's on the team. If I put her there, she'll know what to do. I don't have to say anything.
Right.
That's why you never find these emails. That's why you never find a lot of these communications. Did you see what happened to by the way, since we're going to talk conspiracy theories, did you see them what they did to what's her name, Cheadle? The question that she was asked, there was a very, very critical question that was asked to her to put her on record, and she went on record.
Which
And they're
one?
trying very hard not to play the question over and over again in the media.
Which one?
Have you used encrypted apps to communicate with the White House on your personal phone about this incident? Her answer, yes. 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 And she was given that question by an insider of an insider of an insider who knew that you need to get this on record now before they shit can her and you can't bring her back.
Right.
So they got her on record saying she had absolutely used encrypted apps on her private phone to conduct government business.
Why did it take so long for her to get out of that position?
God,
She should have been. It's a rhetorical question. I mean, you know, it's just one.
Yeah.
One. I can't even.
Yeah.
It's not an error. It's just how they run things, man. It's just the way it is.
Well, I saw something interesting. They were talking about Kamala Harris in the race right now, and that's a whole nother issue. I don't really want to go down that road yet, but we will. We got plenty of time.
Fair.
Right. but they were talking about oh god, now I lost the point.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
No, it's okay. I lost my I lost the point anyway because I was thinking you had me thinking of something else.
My stupid computer restarted on me, so it all of a sudden decided it wants to make noise.
No, it's all good, man. I'm just saying I completely forgot where I was going with the whole
That's all right.
campaign thing, but it had something to do with what were we talking about? What were you just saying? See, now you got me totally lost.
That's okay. I'll bring us back in. We'll bring it back around. And probably be able to think of it when
Right,
I
it'll
say a
come to
few
me in
more
like 10
things. Yeah.
seconds.
But getting back to the potential conspiracy of the whole thing, it's like how did this guy how how does a 20-year-old number one get past all these clowns?
I did remember now.
Okay, go ahead before you forget again.
Right?
Are you going to tell us, or are you going to
No, because
forget
I
again?
forgot again. Right when you.
Oh Jesus Christ! What the? Anyway, so
I have to write it down. I gotta get a pencil. I'm just gonna write it down. I'm not gonna interrupt
just
anymore.
write it down. Just write. Yeah, okay, that's not true. Number one. Number two. Um, you will interrupt. Anyway, yeah, how does this guy get, past all these security checkpoints, I mean, and here's the other thing, it's like you've got all these witnesses pointing him out, saying, "Hey, he's got a gun, he's got a gun." Oh, well, let's just go back a little bit further when the Secret Service knew about a half hour before President Trump even got on stage and did nothing. And the excuses, man, oh my God. Did you watch any of the hearings or no with
Mhm.
Cheadle?
Yeah, yeah.
Called her out on the whole slope roof thing, and on record is saying no, the Secret Service does not have a policy on slope roofs, and you know and I don't remember which congressman it was that was calling her out on it, but he was like, look, the slope on that roof is ADA compliant. That's good enough for a wheelchair.
Yeah, yeah.
you know
Yeah,
um
well, and that's what I was getting at. And I did remember what I was going to say earlier was, we sit, with her in the race and all these things. Like people talk about like rules and policies and what was this, what was that? Why weren't they following this? Why weren't they following that? And you ask all these questions, but you know what the truth is, my whole darn life, man. You know, Republicans look at like where they want to go and what's the most ethical route to get there. Democrats look at where they want to go there, and dare the courts to turn them back. They just go, man. They don't give
it's
a shit.
true.
They don't care about campaign finance law. They don't care about, laws about your name on the ballot for X amount of months. They don't care about, yeah, like when you say, like, why didn't this lady resign? She doesn't care about an attempt on Trump's life. I don't care. These incidents happen. Can't you understand that? This is a large, organic, moving target. There's so many factors. I mean, how could one person possibly understand these? Oh, come on, they don't care.
No, they don't. They don't, and that's a shame. So if they don't care about on that scale, they you think they care about you, you're sorely mistaken.
Well, and that's why they want to change the court so bad now. You had Biden talking about, in his withdrawal speech, like, oh, I'm going to work on court reform. They need to expand the court because, again, their entire playbook is I'm going to do whatever I want and I dare the court to say no. And if I pack it, guess what?
Speaking of Biden, did you see the very brief press conference he did with Netanyahu?
No.
Oh my God. How embarrassing, man. How
Again?
freaking embarrassing. It's like, yeah, there was like 15 to 20 seconds of just uncomfortable silence when the reporters are asking him questions. He didn't take a single question. And he had this look on his face, especially when Netanyahu was talking. It's like
Yeah.
he wasn't there, man.
Well, word on the street is, and there's 1,000 conspiracy theories, right? But one of the theories, and I kind of tend to lead to it, right, is this incident in Vegas, right? This hush incident in Vegas. So if you're not familiar with what happened in Vegas, is President Biden was shaking hands, and in the middle of shaking hands and kissing babies, or shaking babies, kissing hands, whatever, sniffing babies, I don't know, whatever he does, right? Um, he had a medical emergency. And they basically mobilized about 100 units to create an emergency route between where he was and the hospital about 2 blocks away. somewhere in the time frame of them setting that up, his doctor and chief of staff said, no, we're going to reroute straight to Air Force One and fly to Dover, right? We're going to fly to, um, we're going to keep this in house basically, right? No one's going to see me in the hospital. No one's going to see whatever, right? Or that's speculation. But what did happen is emergency, 100 units, route secured, route change, and then the president was flown out. That did happen. They're saying it was COVID. Word on the street is COVID's the excuse, but they wouldn't have done what they did because it cost a lot of freaking money and it screwed up a lot of things, right? They wouldn't have done what they did for COVID,
Damn right.
right? So word on the street is, because remember, if we look at the timeline, he was adamant, I'm staying in the race. I'm staying in the race. People were calling on him to drop out, right? They all said he would drop out by Sunday, which is interesting because he did end up dropping out by Sunday, which is so. Well, anyway,
Exactly.
word on the street is the family and everybody was holding out, right? And that they would not have resigned on Sunday. But this was serious, and it kind of had everybody go, yeah, I don't know that we can continue to do this. This may not be tenable. So whatever happened in Vegas, the theory is it was very serious and it caused Jill Biden, who's the main pusher, and some of the other family members to go, all right, I think the jig is up. I don't think we can do this anymore. And so they've taken whatever deals they took and dropped the notice on Sunday.
If you pay attention, the Democrats are going to tell you everything that they're doing,
Mhm.
whether it's through saying we're going to do it or denial. More specifically on the denial side, with him continues to say, I'm not going to drop out. I'm not going to drop out. I knew he was dropping out. I knew it was just a matter of time. Um, they'll tell you everything they're going to do. I'd like to go on and say that back before the turn of the new year, my other buddy Ryan, that we do the Nostalgically Hip podcast on, we both called it. We said that he will drop out. I think this back in like October, November timeframe. He will drop out before the end of the race, and there will be a new candidate. And I'm still not so sure that we won't see a surprise visit from Big Mike.
Well, I think Kamala Harris is in. I don't think Michelle Obama hates America too much. She's not interested in that. She would have to smile and she would have to talk positively about America, and she just cannot do it.
Well, they'd have to break that contract with the next Lethal Weapon movie too, so that's out.
I'm just saying, yes, yeah. So she can't. I don't think she'll do it. But plus they called Kamala and gave her a little bit of support, which was interesting. They said it would be historic. They didn't call her the next president. They just said her run will be historic.
Yes,
So I don't think they're happy with that.
they're not.
And word on the street is that phone call cost Mark Kelly the VP, right? Like
Mhm.
so so Mark Kelly will be her VP. Like that phone call, the everybody wants something. And word on the street is they want Mark Kelly because Mark Kelly knows how to play ball. Kamala doesn't know how to play ball.
Should know.
She's not going to roll over for the Obamas.
I'm gonna disagree. She knows how to play with the balls quite well, thank you.
Well, you know what's interesting, and I heard this, and this is a very interesting take, and I used to say a version of this, but a little bit differently and a little bit more crude. But somebody was saying, don't sit here and don't discount her just because she let a lot of men on top of her to get where she is today. Because right now, where she is today is on top of all of them.
It's true.
So there's a method to her madness.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah,
You know,
it's been done for centuries.
yeah, and so I think Kamala Harris, that my understanding from one of the analysts was, that these phone calls cost something, and
Oh,
Kamala
for
doesn't play
sure.
ball. She has her own agenda and her own personality, and she has her own issues with things like that, and so she's
She,
not gonna just roll over. But Mark Kelly knows how to play ball, and he supports all like the gun control and all that stuff. So he's all about it, because his wife was shot. Giffords was shot by that loon.
yeah,
Um, Mark Kelly's an accomplished man, but he's also You know what, Mark Kelly? I heard this. This is how Jason Whitlock, the sportscaster, refers to LeBron James. Right? LeBron James is a good employee. Right? When he shills for China for the NBA, when he does all these things, everybody thinks he's great. He is a very good employee, right? Mark
That's right.
Kelly is a very good employee.
Yeah.
He's
We
a
get
very good employee. He's an astronaut. He's a veteran, and he will do what the Democrats tell him to do without a single thought because he is a very good employee.
we've got Joe Tester and Brian Kaiser in the room. And hey, look who just showed up, the Bear. What up,
What's
Bear? What's
up?
up, boys? Yeah, I totally just lost my train of thought. But anyway, let's So how many times have you watched the video of the assassination?
Not many.
I've watched it a couple, and I picked up on a pretty key weird, and I want to run it by you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if too many people have even picked up on this. So when they moved him to the car, they're putting him in the car. If you look past the car to the right, there's a TAC guy there, right? Kitted up. He raises his rifle. He's talking to somebody. You can see him on the radio on comms. He's talking to something. He raises his rifle at the car through towards the president for like 2-3 seconds, and then he drops it.
Oh, inside the car.
Yeah,
Yeah, he aims inside the car.
yeah.
I did notice that in the beginning. I do remember that scene.
It's weird.
Yeah, you know what? I don't. I'm going to be honest with you about that whole response. I've seen a lot of stuff, and maybe I'm too kind. I think people should get fired. Sure, absolutely. But at the same time, too, you know, I'd have to know all those people's training. I'd have to know what their morning brief was. I'd have to know what their orders were. I'd have to
Right.
know what they've been disciplined in the past for. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that because I'll tell you what, when I'm assigned a sector of fire, or let me put it this way, this is how I was explaining to someone else. Okay, when you're watching rear and everybody's fighting up front, the minute you turn up front, fuck, I'm surrounded, right? Because you stopped watching rear.
Right. No, I'm not saying it was wrong or
Yeah,
anything. I'm just something that it caught my eye immediately.
no, I hear you. I'm speaking to the people that are critical of like what I hear a lot of is well they told the cop. Okay, well again, if I'm watching rear and you told me some shit's going down up front, okay, there's people assigned to that. Number one, all right, and I need to watch rear,
Right.
okay, and if my instructions were okay, especially if I'm the local cop and you got Secret Service coming in and they're not coming in like, hey guys, so this is your neck of the woods. Why don't you tell us what's going No, they're coming in like, we got the big dick here. Shut
That's
up,
right.
shut up, Smalls. Right. We're in charge. Here's what you do. Right. And you ask questions. And listen, I've been in some of these in different operations and different levels. You ask a question, and sometimes there's some dudes will make it look stupid.
Right.
You're like, hey, should I, if I have to explain that, and you're like, all right, okay. I guess it's up to my judgment. So good luck explaining it in the after action. But the point being is, if somebody were to tell me that, and that is outside of my sector, the best you'll get from me, maybe, is a radio. Hey, I got a guy telling me somebody's over here. And then I'm going to tell you, don't ever come back if you bother me again. Because,
Right.
again, I have a sector to watch. And if they came in and told me, hey, because Andy, tell me you've never heard this before, right? Hey, watch your sector. I don't care what's going on over there. Because the minute you turn around, it's going to start happening in front of you because you didn't stop it before it began.
That's right.
Don't look left. Don't look right. Look at your sector. Be responsible for your sector. And it is so tempting to get involved in other people's crap. It is so tempting. But we've trained ourselves to pay attention to my sector. So again, I give grace to the cop who was told there's a guy on the roof. Because for sure, if I was on the ground and I was a local cop and you told me something that's outside my dimensional, right? You're talking about elevated now.
Right.
Out of my traversing lane, number one, and not even in my direction. I don't know, man. I'd be like, man, 1,000 things would be going through my mind, and stop what I'm doing and go check it out myself isn't one of them.
Right.
Not even on the list. Not
I
even
mean,
on the list.
that's your fifth general order for fuck's sake.
Exactly. And you got all these armchair quarterbacks that are like, well, they told the police 4 minutes before he started shooting. I'm just from a realistic perspective. Okay. Hey, there's a guy climbing the roof. The first thought in my mind is with the rest of my team, right? My team would never allow that.
What up, Joe? Right.
right.
So,
right.
it's just probably the worst Secret Service op they've ever had, I'd say, since their inception, because you and I both know that's not how they train.
Yes. So I go back to Lois Lerner and no letter from Obama.
Yeah.
I put her there for a reason, right? I know what she's going to. So Cheadle, right? What
Before
is
you go
Cheadle's
into it,
background?
I can't help but every time I hear the name Cheadle, I think of the actor Don Cheadle.
Cheadle, right? Yeah. So this Cheadle lady, right? Where'd she come from? Pepsi. She was the head of security for Pepsi, right? She was Garden Doritos. So, like the senator said when he questioned her, she needed to go back to Garden Doritos.
That was hilarious, by the way.
But she's there on a recommendation from Joe Biden because she's Jill Biden's head of security, and Joe Biden said she should be in there. So she's absolutely 100% a DEI hire. And people who say DEI hire is a racist word, okay, I was a white man who used it on a white woman. But she's absolutely 100% a DEI hire. Again, do you need a memo saying, hey, I want you to screw over the Secret Service? Or do you just put somebody in there wildly incompetent who has radical values and visions? And during the interview process, these are things you can make known during the interview process. Well, yeah, I specialize in transformative operational commitments. Oh, really? Okay. Well, what we really need is somebody who's going to bring in, some diversity in here and equity and include. Oh, yeah, I could do that too. Okay, well, that's where we want you focused.
Right.
And then I walk away and I just let that mess do whatever it does, and whatever comes out at the end is okay with me. You know what I mean? If it results in a shooting, great. If it results in a car crash, great. If it results in a woman flipping the fuck out and losing her Secret Service credentials about 2 months ago on the internet, okay. Right? We're gonna press incompetence through the grinder. So I don't need to put a letter out.
Right. If you've worked in the government for any amount of time, you already know how freaking incompetent it is. And none of this, all this stuff to most civilians, which is probably seeming impossible and crazy. And how could that ever happen? It's just like, it's Monday for the rest of us, just another freaking day in the life of the government.
Yes.
But Shiloh. That's funny. I didn't see that one coming, Shiloh. If you know what I'm saying.
I know. But it is funny though how they just push like how these things go and how people have this faith in the government, I mean, how many people said Anthony Fauci was this great man, and then we get to the congressional hearings and 6 feet was made up. There's no science for that. Yeah, masks really don't stop any of it. Oh, right. Yeah, well, we never really even said they're safe and effective. And you're like, what? You were on TV every day. You couldn't get enough of yourself. Like, what are you talking about, right? Because again, these people that ascend are not the best and brightest. They're just the ones who stayed the longest.
God, facts. How many times have we talked about it in the past? Your senior folks that stick around and they're in these senior positions, a good majority of them, not all of them, but I'm talking mainly in like the medical field, things of that nature. They stick around because they know they can't hack it or cut it on the outside.
Yes.
They would never be in the position they're in now on the outside.
That is particular to Navy medicine, not Navy medicine. That is particular to medicine in the service branches, right? But not necessarily public health. Yeah. But in the service branches, that is 100% true. I have personally spoken with physicians who got out and got back in. Yeah. Because it is dangerous out there. There is. You deal with actual diseases.
Right.
In the Navy, we kick your ass out or put you at San Diego or Norfolk. Right. So a lot of doctors don't see developmental diseases. They don't see a lot of these genetic anomalies that occur that cause problems when they're in the military, because we have such an aggressive preventive medicine program. Sick people are identified and removed.
It's facts, and that's our job, and that's okay. But
Unless the Navy wants you to be a captain overseas and your wife has severe mental illness, then they'll waive that because they have plans for you in the future.
no comment.
All
I'm
right.
not saying a word of that. Anyway, there was some other news. I actually 2 days ago, and this really ties back into what we're talking about. 2 days ago, for the first time ever, they had a Russian anti-Chinese bombers violating Alaskan airspace. That's huge.
Didn't you see Karine Jean-Pierre go to the Big Book of Answers?
No,
You didn't see her go to the Big Book of Answers for that?
I can't stand watching her.
Oh man, that was in the Big Book of Answers.
How
Yeah, she went right to the book
how do you
and read
sleep?
a statement out of the Book of Answers about how NORAD is continuing to track along with our allies, and the CPC and the Russian. As you can see, we detected and responded, but at no point was there a threat. As she reads down and uses acronyms, she has no idea. So, does anybody remember where Karine Jean-Pierre came from? Anybody?
Her mother?
No, Harris's team. But she freaking hated her so much, she transferred over to the Biden communication team. Dead serious.
Wow.
Hated Harris.
Wow.
Abusive is language she used to describe her. But yeah, used to be her communications person. Harris is a terrible person, man.
She's on par with Hillary for sure.
Oh man, it's gonna be rough. She is a huge progressive. But supports mandatory gun buybacks. Healthcare for everybody. I don't support healthcare for. So here's an interesting question: healthcare for everybody, right? Free healthcare. So here's an interesting question, and this came out of economic theory, right? It's been a question of economic theory since the dawn of time. Is it a right if it comes at the forced labor of others?
Interesting. Very good question.
Yeah.
But is it really forced labor of others if they're getting paid?
Okay, but so again, we're all tired here. We're closing and going home. If it's a right, then someone's got to do it for you. So who's waking up or who's putting in the extra hours? I mean, if it's a right, it has to be delivered to you wherever you are, right? Because it's a right.
True.
So it'll have to be within a certain distance to you,
But that would be the argument.
I'm
not agreeing with it.
I hear you. But the point I understand what you're saying. But that's what I mean. Like if you make it a right, and someone has the right to it, So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. If healthcare does become universal, what does that do to the donor recipient list?
Very interesting. A much longer list, that's for sure. And if you can afford it.
Well, not only that, but there are qualifications, right? I mean, so like how Tommy Lee Jones got livers is obviously black market, right? Because when you have a diagnosis of active alcoholism, you cannot get a liver transplant. You're excluded from the list.
Right.
In case you didn't know that. Anyway, I always thought that was interesting how he got like 4 of them. But long story longer, is it a right if it comes at the forced labor of others? So you have another question, right? Housing, right? Is housing a right? Someone has to build it. Someone has to power it, right? I mean, we passed laws that say you can't just put 4 walls and a roof over someone. It has to have, foo-foo shit.
Codes. It has to be up to code.
Yeah, it has to have foo-foo shit, right? All foo-foo shit. So, if you're going to, so is housing a right? Is it a right? I don't know. I mean, these are questions that people have to, if you were to ask me, I would say no. Housing's not a right. Does that not mean we can't band together as a community and try to solve it?
Right.
Does that mean it's not our problem?
There's some good comments in the room here. Shiloh says, in all seriousness, We do combined exercises near Taiwan borders and its readiness. Russia and China do it near Alaska, and all of a sudden it looks like saber rattling. Well, Shiloh, knowing how smart you are, I know you're just trying to bait somebody in here right now, but Taiwan is not a part of China yet. So yeah, I would say it's a readiness exercise. Well, it's definitely saber. You're violating American airspace. How can that be anything other than? I mean, technically, that's an act of war. But my whole point I brought that up is because they're running out of time if they're going to do something. Because every day that goes by, Trump's looking more and more like he's going to be the next president.
Oh, and
And
I think they know that.
yeah, and you're not just they know they're not going to be able to get away with the same crap that they're doing with the guy who doesn't even know where he's at. So I find it. I'm actually kind of worried, man. I'm wondering if something's not going to happen globally.
They're already attacking the Olympics. Have you seen that? They had a multi-system attack on the rail system in France.
Wow.
They had a coordinated multi-system attack. So now teams are not going to make it on time, and some administrators won't be on time, and they may miss events tomorrow.
Huh.
But you ought to look it up. Multi-system attack on the train station. They blew up power boxes, set fires to power box. Trains can't leave. I mean, they screwed up the system. They arrested a French chef on a terrorist plot for Russia. They're saying.
Wow.
The German bicycle team already had its car broken into and vandalized.
They don't need a car. They got their bikes. Fuck them.
Yeah, it was funny. Their video is funny. Like when you follow them, like they find their shit because they had a tracker in it, so they find it in a park all rifled through and stuff.
Damn.
But yeah, I mean, certainly open borders hasn't done anyone any favors.
That's funny too because Biden happened to say in his State of the Union or whatever it was, his mumbling, stumbling, fucking ramble that he's done more. He's done more for the border. Actually, the border, less people have come through the border here recently than any other president in history.
Compared to last month, he's correct.
Well, no, he's not because he fact checked him, and he's not correct.
Oh,
it has been lowered
last month. You sure?
It has been lowered, yes, but not more than any other presidents combined in history.
No, of course not, man. Yeah, look, all that stuff is nonsense.
But people eat it up, man. Hey, there's a couple more comments.
Our side does too a little bit, though, to be honest.
For sure. Joe says the only difference between Hillary is that Hillary had a clue and an agenda. Harris is a puppet.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep, true. And then let's see. Shiloh said, "Who can afford anything after the recent market correction? Made me so broke I have to save up to be poor."
No, you don't. Obviously, you're not listening to the press secretary. Right. Americans are saving more at the grocery store. You're not paying attention.
And the economy's great. Inflation's decreasing.
Yeah. Yes. Don't believe your eyes.
I don't. I really want to live in the world that they live in.
In the words of George Bush, I have to violate the free market to save the free market. Wait. Do you remember that? Do you remember when he said that?
Strategery. Again, look, I'm not the guy that follows a party line. I like to think independently, but
no, I know. I just thought it was funny, like because I like this whole time I was listening to somebody bring that analogy up because they were saying it's almost like the Democrats have taken their version of it, right? We have to destroy democracy to save democracy. Yeah. So like the person who got 0 votes, the whole time is gonna now run the party, and you have Chuck Schumer with just Oh my God, man! The balls of steel to stand up there and say this is from the bottom up, and you're like, huh?
Can you believe when he announced his support?
Yeah, I'm clapping. You don't have to.
How? Oh my God! I'd have been like, all right, well, I gotta go see somebody about something.
Well, no, but how? It's funny. It's funny you say that though, right? But to steal someone else's take that I was like, man, that's brilliant. How true? How moment of truth is that, right? Like, I got what I wanted. You don't have to clap.
Yeah,
I got what I needed. How
That's
about that?
true.
I'm clapping. You don't have to, right? How 100% like the demon spoke truth right there, huh?
And
I'm good.
it fell on deaf ears.
Oh man. Oh man. When I heard somebody say that, I was like, ha ha, that's exactly right. Because they did. They got exactly what they. After that debate, you knew Biden couldn't survive. He couldn't survive after the debate.
No.
Then they try to kill Trump and miss, and that gives him a bump. Then they have the RNC. They just knew he was underwater. He couldn't do anything. And then I'll tell you, I heard something funny. It was out on Tucker Carlson, actually. I was listening to the other day, and I forget who he was talking to, but he was like, Biden, yeah, Biden had to resign because of dementia. And the guy was like, no. No, 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 no. Biden didn't resign because he has dementia. They love that. Biden resigned because you found out he has dementia.
Great.
And I
Great
was like,
point.
that's it. That's the take right there. Right at that, that debate, the whole world, basically the liberal world that it was hidden from, right? Because if you're a conservative and you consume conservative media, you knew this has been going on for forever,
Right.
you know. So the liberal media and the liberal audience saw it for the first time, and there was some genuine shock. But then there was a lot of people who revealed their true colors, right? Like you had Chuck Todd saying, "I heard this 2 years ago."
Right.
And so all these people started showing their true colors, and I think, and unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to happen, but Kamala Harris needs to be asked how long and when
It
were you going to
doesn't
tell us?
matter because she's going to lie through her fucking teeth.
Let
Everybody
her. That's
knows it.
fine.
She
Y-
knew. Everybody knew.
And we need to get her on the record. I think if they do a debate, Trump ought to ask. You owe the American people an explanation. How long have you known about that? We
Look,
knew about it.
I'm
How
not going to
long did
sit
you know
here.
about it?
I'm not going to sit here much longer and let you talk bad about the border czar like that.
Right? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You're correct. She went down there to find root causes. It's all climate change.
Right.
She's 100% correct.
All climate change and guns. Guns are bad.
Guns are terrible.
Yeah,
I'm afraid of guns.
me too. I'm afraid that I'm not going to have enough room in my safe for a new one. Um, wait, what? Anyway, it's not like everybody doesn't know that, all the alphabet agencies have been listening to me for years. It doesn't matter.
Here was an yeah, right. Here was an interesting postulate, right? Uh, Trump gets shot at by this kid or by a second shooter or by a third or the water tower. Who knows? Honestly, I don't even really care.
I don't either.
But what somebody was saying, you're different after an assassination attempt, and then they were talking a little bit about it, and then one person said, well, I'll take you one deeper. What if that was now that you know how close we can get, here's who's going in your cabinet. When we talk conspiracy theories, right? I mean, is that possible?
Of course.
Now that you've seen how close we can get, here's your Secretary of Energy. Here's your Secretary of State. Here's your Chief of Staff. Take these three, and we know you'll play ball. Don't take these three, and maybe you won't luckily turn your head.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because number one, he's too stubborn and egotistical to accept that. Number two, I'm not so sure that the attempts are done.
I'm just saying. I mean, if you're gonna, if we're gonna talk conspiracy theories and other things, and I know we've been all over jumping topic to topic, but when I was thinking of the same person who had that other take had that take, and that's why I wanted to share that. That was interesting. That was an interesting thought. A dark road to go down is, I never intended to kill you. And we don't know anything, right? What if because he turned, he got nicked? Had he had not turned, it would have just,
Right?
we don't know any of this, right? But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it was interesting to hear somebody say, what if that was because they were talking about conspiracy theories, like, what if Trump shot at himself to boost his own poll numbers? And he was like, yeah, I mean, certainly it's possible. He's like, but
Anything's
what else is possible too is that he was shot at to say, now look how close we were. Here's the following appointments you'll be making, or we'll be closer.
I wouldn't put a lot of crap past him, but even he's not so bold to have somebody shoot at him. That's an awful lot of freaking trust, man.
Right, right.
And then, you know, the aftermath is 2 citizens shot, 1 killed.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I mean, that's what's interesting too. I mean, is that's why I say like I don't buy into all these conspiracy theories and stuff. However, that one there, that would account for that too as well. Like we put a bunch of shots in there, just it'll be chaos wherever you go. People won't come. People won't come to your rallies.
Yeah.
Agree to this or don't,
It's either that or they'll be coming in more droves because of it. There's a lot of people pissed off, man. I'm pissed off at it. And again, it has nothing to do with Trump, but it's an assault on the office of the presidency that's
Do you
got me
think we'll get an
upset.
answer?
Never. Never. Just like Kennedy.
I just
And
watched that Bobby. I just watched that naval intelligence officer video, the one who says the driver turned around and shot him. That
oh,
there's video evidence of that. Have you seen that?
no, but hold that thought. Because it's that time. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for, or at least gentlemen. We don't have any ladies. Well, I take that back. There might be a couple in here. Who knows? Anyway, it's that time for our Veterans Helping Veterans segment. And this week, we're going to highlight an organization that I happened to find out that I don't have a direct connection to, but I have an indirect connection to, and that is the TAPS organization. It's a tragedy assistance program for survivors, and this is a great organization. They
Yes.
they help out so much with families of fallen service members, and it's great. I happen to know a very good friend of mine who's no longer with us. Um, his wife and daughter utilize TAPS a lot, and they've helped them out so much. And there's so many resources, monetary resources, but more importantly, the whole mental health aspect of it. Um, so check them out if you can. If you can find it in your heart to support, do that, or at the very least, spread the word about them because again, they're helping so many families out there that are in dire need
Yeah.
that have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country. So
I'll throw this out there real quick about TAPS. I do have some personal experience with them. The sniper on our team was killed on our last patrol, and um, talking, staying in touch with the family through the years past, and the spouse absolutely said, if it weren't for TAPS, um, they wouldn't have been able to pull it through. TAPS really from start to finish and follow on. And if you go to their website, they hold annual picnics and reunions. They have a real follow up program. And I'll just never forget her saying, when I asked her, like, who helped the most, and
mhm.
and she said this organization by far, and just knew what to do. You know,
Yeah, when I was Keiko, this was one of the flyers of information we handed out was TAPS, and it was always I always stressed and emphasized this organization just from my personal connection to them, and it always I don't want to say put the family at ease because when you're
yes,
delivering that word,
sure,
nothing really gets through. But
no, but they really do follow up, and they have an awesome website, and you got to check it out. And just looking at the pictures is heartwarming. I mean, it's touching. Being
yeah,
on their website, it's tough. It's tough to look at.
it is.
If you've been in, but it's a great, like I said, great organization. They really work well, and from start to finish. And like I said, I was just on there the other day tooling around because I check it out every now and then. And they've updated some reunion photos, and they really follow up. They really do stay in touch.
It,
Cool,
it
cool.
it's a fantastic organization, as all of them on here that we highlight are.
That's right. That's right.
Um, you
Pin up
know,
for vets if you have any leftover change.
right. But yeah, of course, there are a couple organizations that are very, very closely related to us, but we highlight them all because there may be something out there that you didn't know about, and it's right up your alley, and you could really get on board and get some help from them. So that's why we do this. And like Lou loves to say, if you want to learn more about these organizations, go back and watch the past shows. You can find them out there.
Sure
But
can.
that's it for our Vets Helping Vets segment. We've got a couple minutes left. What do you got left for us? Because we could go on all night. I know.
I mean, I got nothing, man. I say we close it out before we do go on all night and save some content for next week. But I'll tell you
All
what,
right.
again, the only thing I'll reiterate is if even normally I would say keep your kids out of everything. I'm trying to find a very neutral way to do it, even though I'm strong conservative. I I try not to I try to let my kid figure it out on her own. Like I point her to the right materials to look at, but I want her to draw the conclusions. I think it means more than me telling her. But I have been telling her the last couple of days, pay attention.
Yeah.
Pay attention
Yep.
because you are living history right now.
Yeah. I've had that conversation with my kids over the last couple of days too.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway. All right. I'll give you the last word. If that was it, then we'll
Yeah.
just close it out. And
Hey, folks, if you like what you see, just comment, click like down below. Again, we're working on some other things, other projects coming up down the road. But yeah, we'll be back here next week. And if you remember PBS stargazers, like Jack Horkheimer would say, Cape, looking up.
I don't remember that. And
Oh,
with that, we'll just get out of here.
comment.
You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table with Andy and Lou, an Admiral Media production.